Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna be finally filming the why I wasn't allowed to go to prom, why I turned up anyway, crashed prom, and everything in between. So if you want to hear that, I filmed a short series on my TikTok explaining how I turned up to prom even though I wasn't allowed, and altogether like the series got over 1 million views. So I asked you guys, do you want to see the full version on my YouTube? And most people said yes. Just a heads up, I'm not this person anymore. I've completely changed. I'm still pretty rebellious, but in a different aspect of like life. Now, let's get into it before I ramble too much. Okay, so obviously this story time kind of starts at like year 11, but I'll tell you a bit beforehand. I've never been like the worst student, but I've never been the best student. I kind of just hover in between. I was always like the loud giggly girl who just wanted to have fun. I was never bad, but I was never like the best. Then in year 11, on the lead up to GCSEs, because classes became really relaxed because half of us were doing exams, some of us weren't, there were mocks, blah blah blah. Don't get me wrong, I revised a lot at home, but when it came to school, I would turn up to school and I just want to mess around with my girlfriends and like just have fun, which is probably not the smartest thing to do, but at the time I was getting all my work done at home, so when it came to school, I was just like, let's have fun. Probably not the best thing to do. Work hard at school. You won't get in trouble. You won't get banned from your prom. So I guess you could say I was like skiving lessons. Like I was skiving lessons. And like I'd turn up to the ones that I knew I needed to be at, but then like ones that were a waste of time. And trust me, at my school there were lessons that I would turn up to that were a complete waste of time, and I was like, there's no point. So me and my girlfriends would go to a field and we would just revise in the field, and we would revise the subjects that we wanted to do. At school I had literally zero warning that I wasn't going to be allowed to go to prom. They never warned me. I did get told off for like skipping class and stuff like that, but I never had a warning, like a formal warning to say that you're not going to be able to go prom.
Hey guys, I did want to say that the school said that they had tried to reach us through email giving warnings that I wouldn't be allowed to go to prom. However, we never got these emails, and still to this day we don't know if they actually never sent it and they were lying, or if we genuinely just never got the emails but they were sent.
So during this time I also went prom shopping for my dress and bought my dress, and then it was leading up to prom. My parents were on holiday, and then I saw on the phone that we had voicemails, so I just listened to them, and then one was my head teacher, and it was a voicemail literally saying that I wasn't going to be allowed to go prom. At this point my heart literally sank. I was pretty shocked because I had never had a warning, but then at the same time I was like, we're gonna battle this and like sort this out, and I'm definitely gonna be going to prom. I was like, there's no way I'm not going to prom. So I rang my mum telling her what had happened, and she was pretty sad. She was probably sadder than me, and my sister was really sad. If you saw my last video you would know that my sister was really sad about it, but I was like, I'm still going prom, whatever. Meaning like, we're gonna sort this out so I can be allowed to go prom the formal way, if you get what I'm saying. During this time, I had promised my best friend, I had promised her that I would be going to prom with her, and we had all these plans sorted, and there was no way I was gonna let her down and not go to prom and she'd be like stuck alone because it was just gonna be us two. I literally promised her I'd be going to prom with her no matter what, so I wasn't gonna let my best friend down. But anyway, my mum went back and forth with phone calls to the head teacher, phone calls to the head of the year, even went in for meetings, and my mum was getting nowhere. And in fact, the head of the school that I went to was so rude to my mum. He said to my mum that she had brought me up wrong, which I just feel like you should never say to someone's mum. Like, no matter what the situation, you don't say that to someone's mother, and that has always like, I've always been angry about that. And then he also made my mum cry. He made her feel really uncomfortable. He was short with her. I'm not angry about any of the situation. The only thing I'm angry about is that they were disrespectful to my mum. That is what makes me mad. There was loads of meetings, loads of phone calls, and then the very last meeting that we went to, my mum went, I went, and my dad went, and this took a lot of persuading. My dad doesn't really like to get involved with school and stuff, but mum wanted backup, and then I came because obviously I had a lot to say because they had been twisting scenarios to make it seem like I was worse than what I had been. I would have to go in and explain my side of the story, and then they would kind of have like no evidence or like backup to prove what they were saying, but neither did I, so we were getting nowhere. So it was like one word against the other, and neither of us had any proof of the real story. So obviously my mum believed me. I wouldn't lie to my mum. So it was pretty obvious that the teachers were stretching the truth, which was really, really annoying, but that's what teachers do sometimes, because some of them have power problems. At the very last meeting, my mum was planning to take it to the press. So she wanted to ring up a news people, or like, she wanted to ring up the news. I don't know really what was going on there, but she wanted to share with people in our area and let them know what was going on, like let them know that they weren't allowing students to go to prom.
Also, my mum had this thought that it's like completely damaging to me that I never got to go to my prom, which, like, I'm not damaged at all. That's what my mum's point was, that I would be damaged and it's scarring that I didn't get to say goodbye the same way everyone else did. So yeah.
So my mum wanted to take it to press, blah, blah, blah. We were in the meeting. I had been crying because I was so frustrated in this meeting because he kept lying to my mum.
When I say lying, what I mean is there was a situation where a student had shouted a name at him, a pretty nasty name, and he had told my mum that it was me. It wasn't me, therefore it was a lie.
And he kept being rude to my mum, and every time he was rude to my mum, I had to bite my tongue and just cry because I wanted to like fight back and be like, don't be rude to my mum, but I was trying not to be like that. My dad was in the room, and at the end of the meeting, my dad said, look, I'm happy to leave it here, but my wife will take this to the press, so leave it at that. And that's all my dad said. And then we were leaving the meeting, my mum left, my dad left, and they all shook hands. And then this is just something I remember, both the teachers, the head of the year and the head of the school, went to shake my hands, and I remember just looking them up and down, giving them probably the dirtiest look I've ever like made with my face. I looked them up and down and was like, no thank you, and left the room. And I always felt so powerful for doing that because I feel like I proved my point just from not shaking their hands.
I'm not accusing this man of anything, but I would like to say that in the meeting, when my dad would speak, he would be there like, yes, okay, like very formal and serious. And then when my mum would go to talk, he would cut her up mid-conversation. He'd be like, however, but, and kept like jumping in front of her, which I just think is like kind of weird. Like my dad, he was really respectful, and then my mum, he wasn't.
Anyway, that happened, and then at this point I was dancing like every single night. So this night I went to dance. I was pretty droopy because I was pretty sad about the whole situation, because I was sad about not going to prom, and this time it was like official, like Amelia is not going to prom. So I went to dance and I came back, and my best friend, the person that I was going to prom with, sent me a news article about prom and the situation that was going on at my school. And she literally just sent me a screenshot, and she wrote underneath it, I really hope this was your mum who contacted the news. And then obviously my mum hadn't contacted the news yet, which she was planning on doing, and literally straight away it clicked. I was like, brilliant. The head obviously took on board what my dad had said, and he went straight to the news first. So this is how this man works. Like, he heard it, and literally 4 hours later there was an article out about the situation that was going on. The article, however, was like pretty even on both sides. It was 50-50 the school, 50-50 students, if that makes sense. There was nothing bad about the article, nothing against students, but it was just like, wow, he went ahead and did it because he heard that we were going to do it. So basically, the outcome was I'm not allowed to go prom. I wasn't even allowed to go and watch prom. So say for example, if I wanted to go in like casual clothing and watch my friends go to prom, I wasn't allowed to do that. I wasn't allowed in the area. So I got over all of the like trauma that was going on at this time. I did my GCSEs, we moved on, but in the back of my mind I was like, I'm still going prom, I'm still going prom, I'm still going prom. And then prom came, I had my dress, I had my shoes, and in the morning I went and got my hair done professionally. I did my own makeup, I put on my prom dress, and I headed over to my friends. Now we literally spent about 2 hours taking photos. I will put some of the photos up. We literally had the best time. It was full of giggles and I literally loved it so much. At this point I was pretty like relaxed and chilled, but then it was getting closer and closer to like prom time. I didn't have my ticket, I wasn't allowed to go, I was forbidden to go to prom, and I was turning up. So we got in this cute little car, her granddad drove. We literally had the best time in this little car, we were chatting away. When we got closer and closer to the location of prom, my nerves were getting more and more. I can literally feel them now. I was so nervous.
Once again, I have them nerves now because I can't tell you how scared I was, because nobody else who wasn't allowed to go to prom was turning up, and it was just me, and I was alone, and my friend was allowed in. So yeah, it was just scary.
because I was like, I know it's not going to go down well, but I wanted to turn up, I wanted to get my photos, and I wanted to say goodbye to the people in my year. Like, I wasn't just going to leave it at the end of an exam, like, oh, this is our farewell. I wanted to say bye to everyone how everyone else was going to say bye, and I wanted to get my photos. Like, I had my dress, and yeah, I just wanted to get my photos, and you can't blame a girl for wanting her photos. Like, you literally can't. And if anyone was interested, my dress only cost £100, which is super, super cheap because it was down in the sale from 300. And if my dress cost £300, I would have been fuming about not going to prom. Because it cost 100, I wasn't like too mad. That's still expensive, don't get me wrong, but like at least I wasn't one of them girls that spent like trillions. Pretty much, I was at the location of prom and we were driving around, and obviously you have the crowd of people watching you as you're like entering the location. And I just remember all my friends from like other schools and from school being like, oh my god, she's here, she's not allowed to be here. And I was like, through the car door, I was being like, shh, like don't like shout my name or anything, because I don't want to give away that I'm here. Like, I don't want all the teachers to suddenly be alert that I was there. So I was going around, everyone was like laughing at me and thinking it was all fun and games, and I was like in the car like so nervous. And basically, so the crowd is on this side, I was sat on this side of the car, and my friend was sat on this side of the car. And as we're in the entrance, like entering, I was like, you need to swap with me, you need to swap with me. Because I was so nervous, because obviously I was like the person everyone could see, whereas the person at the back was like the person you can't see as well. So we were like swapping, as like in front of the crowd we were swapping. And then I think because of all the movement, I saw my head of year, he saw me, and at that point my heart dropped, because I was like, busted, like this is it, I'm busted now. He didn't like acknowledge me or anything because I was still in the car. He ran in and I was like, why is he running in for? Like, who's he running away from? Because it can't be me. And then the head of the year came out and I was like, shit. That's who he went to get. Like, he couldn't confront me, he had to go get his higher like person to come and confront me. So I got out of the car, we got our photos in front of the car, and pretty much this is the funniest part to me. Like, this part just like gives me the giggles. Basically, there's like a red carpet walkway to walk into the entrance of the building, and on each side there's teachers, and they all clap as you walk in. So as every student walks in, they're like, and they stand and do that for every single student. And then me and my friend, we get out the car and we start walking, and we're like holding hands. So my friend goes first, and then she's holding my hand, like kind of dragging me through because it was pretty crowded. And all the teachers start clapping, and then they like do a double take at me. And then they were like, and then they just kind of like stopped clapping. And then, this is a funny part, my favourite teacher, she was my dance teacher, I absolutely loved her. She was like, woo! And then she like noticed that everyone else stopped clapping, like all the other teachers, and she was like, oh, okay. And she like stopped, and I just always thought that was funny. But pretty much I walked along the red carpet, and then the head of the school came up to me, and he was like this close to my face, and that annoyed me so much. I was like, you don't have to be in my face, but whatever. He was like this close to my face, and he was literally like, Amelia, you can't be here, you have to leave. And he was like so stern and serious, and I was like so mad about it, because I was just like, just be kind. Like, can you not be kind for once in your life? He was not a kind man. This man was just not a kind man. And then my friend like looks at me, and she's like sad eyes, because she has to now walk in alone, which is fine because we're there, but it was still really sad. And I was like trying to walk past him, so I was still holding onto her hand at this point, and I was like trying to walk past him and like sidestep him, but he was like sidestepping me as well. So there was no way I was getting past him. Like, he probably would have like rugby tackled me if I tried to push past him. So she went in, and I started to turn around. And one thing that my mum had said to me, so she wasn't fully behind me going to prom, but she like was if I did it in a good way, I guess you could say. So my mum said to me, you can go to your prom, but you are not allowed to cry, because obviously it's pretty heartbreaking getting turned away from your prom. So she was like, you can go to your prom, but do not cry. And at this point where like me and my friend like let go of each other's hands, and the teachers didn't clap me, and then I got turned away and he was sidestepping me, I could literally, I felt the embarrassment, because there's a big crowd of people watching you enter, and the fact that I got turned away, and I was literally like starting to tear up. I was embarrassed, like of course I was embarrassed. I turn around to walk away, and there is my freaking granddad with his big like iPad first generation, like, oh my god, but he was literally like, get back in there, get past him. Like it was just so funny to see him with his big iPad, and like his little face just cheered me up. So at that point, tears went away, embarrassment went away. Granddad, you saved me. Like, I probably would have cried in front of everyone, and my granddad just cheered me up, saved my day. So yeah, so I turned around, I was about to walk away, but then my favourite teacher, the one that carried on clapping me, my dance teacher, took my hand and she was like, come on, come with me. So she left where she was standing to come and talk to me, because like we had a really good relationship. So she walked me away, we talked for a long time, we had a really good time, we took some photos. I don't know if I'll be allowed to show them ones because obviously it's a teacher. So then at that point, some of my friends had come out of the building to come and like check up on me and like kind of find out what happened. So everyone came running out and was like, what's going on, what happened, what went down. And at this time, because obviously I was like outside of the location of prom, I had a lot of people's parents come up to me and be like, it's so horrible what they've done to you, are you okay? And these like parents I didn't even know, but they were still coming up to me to like check if I was okay, which was really, really nice. And then at that point, I had been like outside for about 10-15 minutes, and I turned to my mum and I was like, I'm gonna sneak in. This is me and my best friend going back in after the first time and being kicked out. So I snuck in the first time. I tried to get photos with my guy friends because my guy friends didn't come out, so I went in to take some photos. Straight away I got spotted, and it was the same head teacher, and he was like, Amelia, you need to get out. So I left again, but then I was like, this is not over. So once again, I toddled back in to the flippin' prom. I went back in, and at this point, he probably had enough, don't blame him, and he sent all the people in my year, he sent down early. So pretty much at the prom, you have like the top level, which is where everyone socializes and takes their photos, and then when they go to have their meal, they go down the stairs, and they don't go downstairs for a while. But because I was in the building, he felt the need to tell everyone to go downstairs, so I was like singled out. So he was like, everyone go downstairs, and I knew I couldn't go down the stairs because like that was taking it too far. And I literally tried to explain to him as well. I was like, I just want to get my photos. Like, I'm kind of only started to come to the realization now that this whole video in story time is based off the fact that I wanted photos, which is really vain. Like, I did say to him, and I made it really clear, I was like, I'm not here to cause trouble, I'm not here to like cause any chaos, I just want to get some photos and then I will leave. And I said that to him, and he just refused it. He was so angry. He was a pretty angry man in general. And then he got a bouncer to walk me out, which was just ridiculous. And this bouncer was literally like, I think he felt more embarrassed than I did. Like I could tell he was uncomfortable about walking out a 15-year-old girl, because like it wasn't necessary. And I kind of just turned to the bouncer and I was like, I've got my own legs, I can walk out alone, you don't need to. And he was like, yeah, all right. And he like left me to it. It's weird that the head teacher took it so far to like get a bouncer to walk me out. That happened, I then left. I was the only person walking away from the location in a prom dress. It was probably a really sad scene if it was filmed, and it was just giggles, like it was absolutely fine. I walked away, and then that was it. That's literally the end of the story. But if you want to hear what happened like after that, then keep watching. But if you just were there for the story, that is literally it. There were two other girls that weren't allowed to go to prom that I was friends with. We got into our prom dresses again. Well, I was already in my prom dress, but they got into their prom dresses. We went into a field and we took even more photos. And then us three girls got dressed up in fancy like dinner clothing, and we went out to an Indian restaurant, and it was literally such a nice time. And then we came back to my house, we got ready for the after party, and then around 12 p.m, 1 a.m, we turned up to the after party and we had a great night. And that is literally it. Nothing bad like really came from it. I personally am not fussed that I didn't go to prom. A lot of my friends came back, and at the after party they were like, you're lucky you didn't go to it, like it was boring. Which I don't know if it was or not. Like, I'm not saying that the prom was boring, I just don't think I missed out on that much. And in fact, I had a really good time at my meal, and I got really pretty photos. I'm not mad at all. It's all about the photos. And also, I just tell people, like, I have a really good story to tell my kids when I'm older. Like, I wasn't allowed to go to prom. But yeah, that that's literally it. I had a great after party and that's it. I've not spoken to the school since, and I hope that cleared some questions up that you guys had from my TikTok. I hope that you enjoyed the story time. I hope that it made sense because I've not done a story time yet, so I might look back at this footage and be like, I need to refilm that because I feel like I talked really fast in this video, but there you go. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna try and start posting twice a week, so hopefully I'll have a lot of content out soon. And like always, any videos that you want to see in the future, comment down below because I'm always looking for ideas. And I'll see you in the next video.